Hi, this is John Lutz from Army Football and Lawrence First and Goal. I'm going to give you a brief intro to block destruction, which you can find the whole hour and minute video on at LFGclinics.com. Hope you follow us on both of these Twitters here down at the bottom, and hope you take advantage of this tremendous opportunity. You get over 700 hours of video content for an entire year for your whole staff of 10, or you can get the prime package for just one person, but it's a great deal. And it's one of the only things on planet Earth that isn't affected by inflation. So I hope you get a chance to check this out. You know, a long time ago, Vince Lombardi coached here at Army West Point, and I'm sure he said this a ton, but it's all about blocking and tackling. So I'm going to hit on block destruction because if it's about keeping people blocked on offense, and obviously it's all about getting off blocks and be able to relocate the football and down the football. So this is just the intro slide, but I talk to the guys all the time about, one, what is your key? What is going to get us moving in the direction we want to go to start? So I want to make sure my guys are looking at it all the time. I'm going to get behind the offense as much as I possibly can to watch to see exactly where their eyes are, especially when it's not 11 on 11 and we're doing walkthroughs or inside run or any things we're trying to work on there. Right. But you can't defeat a block if you don't look at that block. You got to defeat blocks and relocate the football in that order. If you're looking past him, I say to my guys all the time, the blocker's not looking past you to someone else. He's looking right at you. So you better have the same focus and look at him. And then I talk about if the ball is in phase or out of phase. The object is not to fight blockers. The object is to down the football. So if the ball's out of phase and I can beat him over the top or underneath and still make that play, I want to do that. And I think it partly depends where you are on the field too. I tell my guys, there's no purpose in going over top of a block when the ball's deep in the red zone. It's still a touchdown by rule if it enters the end zone with the football. But I want to attack blockers, and that's what I'm going to just focus here on this brief talk here. Leverage on the block. What is my primary responsibility? One, what is my gap side? What is away from my gap? Because I want to make sure if it's going to my side. So if I'm on the left of a block and that ball looks like it's going to go to the left of that block, I need to get off that block now. I need to defeat that block and be able to down the football. If I'm on the left side of a block and that's my responsibility, then I'm going to be really slow getting off that block. I want to make sure the ball is literally crossing by me. They can't jump cut. And then I talk all the time um, about whether I want to spill that block or I want to box that block. I use these two terms all the time as in one box. It keeps my outside arm and leg free. I need to knock the ball back into the other defenders, right? I'm an outside linebacker coach right now, so that's exactly what I have to do most of the time, but not always. And I want to define it clearly when I'm a coordinator, exactly what we want with that block. Right. So if I box it, keep my outside arm and leg free, I need to make all plays outside of that block. Right. If I'm going to spill it, and I use the word spill because I want the ball to bounce deep and outside, right? And I'm really talking there about a kick out block. So, and the inside backers a lot, they're trying to bounce the ball deep and outside, especially if it's an ISO play and I've got linebackers on either side of me or at least where I'm trying to knock that football. So I think it's critical that you explain to guys all the time and ask them all the time in the meeting room, on the field, what am I supposed to do with that block? I need to box that block. I need to spill that block. Just one word definitions, exactly what they're doing. Um, Hands and hips. I want to use my hands whenever possible. There's times when I'm going to shoulder blow a block and then I got to get my hands on it. That typically to me is a guard tackle kick out block. Sometimes a fullback block, depending on who you are and who that person is. But if I can use my hands, I want to use my hands. I want to stay alive. I don't want to trade one for one. And it's always same foot, same shoulder, just like when I get to the tackling part of the clinic. But I want to keep if I turn my shoulders, this is what kids do all the time, and my guys do it. They want to turn their shoulders toward the football. I want to keep my shoulders pointed toward the line of scrimmage or toward the other end zone. I want to keep my inside foot up and my outside foot back when I'm taking on these blocks. Right. So again, I have my power foot in the ground just like I do when I'm going to tackle. That gives me all my power. I talk about pad level. you really want your hands above your eyes. All right. So I have my hands above my eyes, and I talked to him about, do I want to play underneath my pads or behind my pads? If I stand straight up and down, I am playing underneath my pads. So if my shoulder pads are here and I'm standing straight up and down, I'm underneath my pads. I want to play behind my pads where I have all my power. To me, you don't roll your hips when you're taking on a block. You roll your hips when you tackle, because that's the finished product. I need to get off the block. I need to continually play behind my pads and use my hands so I am low man wins, which we talk about all the time. You got to constantly point that out on tape. I talk about tight hands, tight wrists, tight elbows. If everything is tight, and I've seen where they have like a handcuff, a rubber handcuff type thing, where I've seen the D line use those devices to keep their hands in tight. I have much more strength than if my elbows are out. I don't have that same kind of strength. So I want to work all the time. Tight hands, tight wrists, tight elbows. And my guys are hearing me say that over and over and over as we take on blocks. And then I mentioned this earlier, but I want to be fast to my gap side and slow away. What I don't want to do, if I'm to the left of the block, let the ball go out to my left. If it goes to my right, I want to violently pull to get off that block. And often there, I'm going to talk about this later too, is have a chance to strip the football. I want to violently explode off the block. You will, if your hands are outside, then you're going to get held. And you have to refuse to get held, and don't give that as a cop out for your guys. Get your hands inside. And then when you pull and rip and uses momentum to your advantage, he's going to lean on you. And that's when I pull and use that advantage. Then I want to pull and rip. I never want to swim a run block. So I pull and rip, accelerate my feet to get off that, pursue the football. And that's really, to me, how you get off a block. You have to practice block destruction and tackling every day. So hope you can check out this video. If you like it, please hit the like, and please subscribe to LFG Clinics, which is on our YouTube channel. And that's where we'll put this. All right. Thanks a ton. And I hope you can check it out.